Forensic pathologists are trying to determine if the charred human remains found in the ashes of this burned out cabin overnight in Big Bear are indeed of accused cop killer Christopher Dorner. Steve Fiorina is live in Big Bear with the late breaking details. Steve?
Well, Cole shows most people went to bed last night not knowing for sure if there were a body in that cabin that was found overnight. The ashes were still too hot to go in before midnight, so they had to wait, make sure that any unexploded ammunition was safe before the investigators could go in, and now they have found charred remains, and they're looking to see if that might be Dorner. One reason they're almost positive that it is him is Fish and Wildlife spotted him. With me is Andrew Hewen with the Fish and Wildlife Organization for the state of California. Tell me a little bit about your people spotting him. You had 6 people part of the crew here.
Right, we had a detail up here. We actually had 2 separate identifications, 2 separate pursuits, shots taken, 6 shots taken from the suspect, 20 shots returned to the suspect, all in about 4 minutes.
And that was the first of 2 gun battles, and came the second one with the cabin itself.
Right, and once he went around Highway 38 and got down the road, the Fish and Wildlife's pursuit ended, but we started it.
Okay, thank you very much. Andy Hewen with the California Fish and Wildlife Department. Now, the roadblock is still up, so it is an active crime scene. As soon as they decide that it's safe for folks to go up there, then we will be proceeding as well. Live at Big Bear, Steve Fiorina, 10 News.
Steve, thank you. 33 minutes after 5 o'clock. This violence all started early Tuesday. You're looking at a virtual view that shows how Dorner burglarized a nearby home in Big Bear, tied up 2 women. One of the victims was Jay Hilton's wife.
He tied them in, broke in and tied them up, and then stole the car. They're okay. As far as we know, they're fine.
Fish and Wildlife officers spotted Dorner in the stolen car and chased him here, where he barricaded himself inside and opened fire at the officers.
Now to that video showing the beginning of the final gun battle between Dorner and San Bernardino sheriff deputies. An LA reporter named Carter Evans, who also once worked in San Diego, happened to be there covering the search for Dorner and used his cell phone to record the gunshots and shouts as they happened. The right of the frame there in that cabin, it appears to be someone shooting back. Could be Dorner very well. Later video shows, in the video you see the gunfire continuing with smoke coming up. You see that. Moments later, police run over and scream at the reporter and his crew to get out of the area. Of course, by then the bullets have already been flying. As Steve mentioned, 2 deputies were shot in that gun battle, one of which died.
Well, several San Bernardino deputies took part in a somber procession for the deputy killed in Tuesday's standoff. Dozens of deputies followed behind the coroner's van at Loma Linda Medical Center. Van, of course, carrying the body of the fallen deputy. Hospital spokesman said the other injured deputy is recovering from surgery and is expected to undergo several more. LAPD says until Dorner's body is positively ID'd, he is in custody, it will continue to provide security for officers and their families named in his manifesto.
Now happening today, the funeral for the Riverside police officer Michael Crane, who was killed by Dorner last week. 10 News reporter Hannah Mullins first brought you word of the murder as breaking news on Thursday morning of last week. She's live at San Diego Police Headquarters downtown with what local police are planning to do to honor Crane today. Hannah?
And Bill, overnight we learned San Diego police officers are headed to Riverside to pay their respects at the funeral. We're also learning more about Officer Michael Crane. We do want to go to some pictures that are new this morning for you because 10 News was able to get yearbook photos of Crane. We now know he attended Redlands High School where he played football. The 11-year veteran of the Riverside Police Department was assigned to the SWAT team. He was also a decorated Marine with a Good Conduct Medal who served 2 tours in Kuwait, but he was murdered while serving his hometown streets, shot at a stoplight in his patrol car early Thursday. Now, Crane leaves behind a wife and 2 young kids. And while Christopher Dorner's manifesto committed to killing officers and leaving spouses alone, he may have lost sight of just how tightly the police family pulls together during such difficult times.
Very difficult, very painful for our department. We've lost a very respected young man. And it's complicating the issues. We haven't even been able to recognize him appropriately up until now.
I know Mike, if he lived his life like he lived it in high school, he lived every day and used up the whole 24 hours. And I know he probably did that for the Riverside Police Department as well. And he gave.
and ultimately gave his life keeping those streets safe. Now, this really hits home in San Diego. You're looking at a memorial for San Diego officers who died in the line of duty. Officer Hinwood, who you may remember, was also killed while at a stoplight in his patrol car the same way. Again, San Diego officers will be heading to that funeral, which is set at 10:30 this morning. It will also be streamed live online. We're live downtown. Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
Thank you, Hannah. 47 degrees at 5:37. UT San Diego is quoting the San Diego yacht owner who was tied up by Dorner as saying he hopes, quote, they finish him up because we don't want the expense of a trial. The 81-year-old man was on his boat, that's the boat there, at the Southwestern Yacht Club last Wednesday night when Dorner climbed aboard and ordered the victim to take him to Mexico. When a line became tangled in the propeller, Dorner tied up the owner and ran back to shore. The boat owner told UT San Diego that Dorner, quote, smashed things and took my cell phone. He wasn't very friendly when he was here, especially when he tied me up, so good riddance.
Of course, 10 News will continue to cover every angle of this story throughout the day, both on later editions of 10 News and 10news.com, so please do stay with us.